Alright everybody, welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. So today, one of my daughters came up and asked me a question. She says, hey Daddy, one of my friends wants to know, what do I want to plant for a kid? Alright, so what kind of garden should you grow for children? I mean, alright, first off, that kind of depends on what it is that your kids eat. If your kids don't like what you're growing, then they're not really going to get into it. Alright, but what I would say is a couple of things. First off, you see this tunnel here? All this is a little bit of fencing and some little posts that I stuck down in the ground. Now, if you grow this smaller somewhere and on a surface that the kids can crawl into, man, can you imagine how much fun that would have been when you were a kid? So maybe do some type of tunnels. Maybe make a little area that they can crawl around and play in that's also got vegetables that they can eat. Then come over here, I'll show you a couple other things. Not a lot's growing right now. It's the fall. But, alright, a great thing is strawberries. Now, if you grow strawberries, the cool thing about it is kids can come out and they can pick a strawberry and just pop it in their mouth and eat it. If you don't use any kind of fertilizer, just use like mulch and compost, then you should be fine. It's not going to be bad for them to eat it. So they can just pick it straight off and eat it. Yeah, they'll probably eat a bug here and there, but you know what? I ate a lot of bugs when I was a kid. But so strawberries I think would be a great one. I did talk to my neighbor who has grandkids. I do not have grandkids, sadly. Hint, hint. Kids, hint, hint. Anyway, so I don't have any grandkids, so I had to borrow one. So I asked him, I said, so what do you like to grow in the garden? Now, I'll give you, he was pretty shy, but he said that he liked peppers. Now, peppers are kind of cool too, because they can, once again, pick them off and eat them like an apple. I mean, you really can. Just take your pepper, pop it off, wipe it down, and munch. Man, that's good. Really good. But they like them in the garden, or in the house too. Now, let's go over here. Wow, that's so good. You want a bite? But you will get a lot of seeds. If you look down inside there, you can see there's a bunch of seeds down in there. But they're so juicy, man. Look at all the juice on there. Anyway, so that's a good one. But let me show you this too. Kids like to watch things grow. Anything baby, kids like. So if you look down here, like I've got lettuce growing, and I got broccoli growing, and if you let them plant it, and then bring them out and say, hey look, those seeds you put in the ground, look what they're doing. They're growing up. They really like that. They really like, wow, that is so neat. And then if your kids like broccoli, once the broccoli grows up, they can pinch off the top and eat it down and be like, oh, that's so good. And they'll be very proud of themselves. Another thing, and one thing I've always told everybody for kids is carrots. Now I got carrots planted, but they're just hopefully starting to sprout up here real soon. But carrots are one of the coolest things because when you pull up a carrot, it's like a surprise. They pull up on something green and out comes this really cool orange looking thing that you can eat, and kids know what carrots are. They usually like them. Another thing would be fruits. Lots and lots of fruits. And you want to have it on a low tree, depending on how adventuresome you are. Alright? If you really want to be adventurous and you think your kids are good to go, you know, grow trees but keep the branches out to where the kids can climb on them. If they can climb up the tree, once it gets big enough, it would be a really cool thing to be able to climb up and get some fruits. But like over here behind you, you'll see I got my loquat tree. Now, if I was a kid, I would climb this loquat tree in no time at all. And then right here at the top is where they grow the fruits. They're really good fruits. They grow great here in Florida. Very tasty. This is my experiment going on. All right. So carrots, strawberries, basically anything that they will eat. Lettuce if they like lettuce, spinach if they like spinach. You can even do green beans. Some kids like to pick off the green beans and eat them fresh. They're really good fresh, but it all depends on the kid and what they like to eat. Lots and lots of fruit trees. If you look over here, I've got like, I don't know, 30 some odd fruit trees growing around my property. Grapes would be another great one. Once they ripen up, they can eat those. Figs. Figs are really good. If your kids like figs, if you can get them to eat them, you can grow short trees like this. You can see I got figs here, there, here. I mean, if you teach them Like this fig is ready to go. All right, they can pop it right off and just munch down. Figs are really good. You just got to watch with figs. There are certain types of figs that have to be pollinated by wasps. Peach trees are great, but see how I've kept my peach trees short? Now, if you want them, if you put them in a spot where you got to mow around them, then you got to kind of keep them up taller. But if you leave the branches down low, like this one, I mean, you know, a kid yay tall could reach most of this tree to pick any peaches that might happen to grow. And it's a great thing for kids to eat. So, what's my take on it? If I had grandkids, not like that's a hint or anything, children, but if I had grandkids, my favorite things would be strawberries, carrots, radishes not so much. Kids don't really usually like radishes so much. And anything else that kids, that you know your children like to eat. And then beyond that, lots of fruits and berries. All right, as many fruits and berries as you can get. Kids typically aren't big into, you know, leafy greens nearly as much as the fruits, berries, things that are sweet. And if you're going to grow some of the berries, like if you're going to grow raspberries and such, you want to make sure it's the thornless variety, because you don't want your kids coming in all scratched up, and they will. And then the other thing would be fruit trees that are low, that are grown low so that they can easily reach them. Another great thing for children is flowers. Kids love flowers, okay? Some that maybe smell real good, mostly something that they can pick and bring to mama or bring to daddy, as the case may be, or just to bring in and put in a vase so that they can see them. Put some flowers in your garden, all right? Don't just do vegetables, all right? It doesn't have to be all utilitarian, doesn't have to be all food producing. Put some flowers in. Not only is it good for your garden for bringing in pollinators and such, but it's also a great thing for children. They love the colors, the bright colors. And then one other thing, while you're at it, while you're doing your building of your garden, consider using something like this. All right, this isn't just your average tomato cage. It's actually got a nice color to it, and the kids will appreciate the color. You know, it makes it more like a playground. All right, so one of the best things about gardening with your kids is the lessons that it teaches them. Not only do you learn where food comes from and you gain the skill of being able to grow your own food at some point in life, but you also learn valuable lessons like work creates benefits. That if you do the work, you get the reward. And it teaches kids delayed gratification. So you can plant a vegetable and then pull it right back up, but you're not going to get anything. You got to wait. You got to wait for it to come about. You got to wait for it to grow. And it does teach kids that it's worthwhile to wait sometimes and not expect everything to come right away. All right. There's been studies shown that if you teach your kids to work, you've done them a greater service than giving them a college degree. All right. Highly recommend it. Can't say enough. Garden with your kids. Take them out there with you. Show them what's up. Let them get involved to the extent that they're willing to. Of course, when they're small, they're not going to want to do it as much. But I'll tell you right now, both of my older children who have property, both of them are heavily into garden. Well, not heavily, but they all garden. All right, they spend time. One of the things we talk about now, besides politics and the state of the world, a lot of what we talk about is how's your garden growing? What do you got going on? You know, they will come out here every time they come over. What do you got growing in the daddy? What do you got growing in the garden, daddy? Nothing's growing in the daddy, okay? All right, so it's a great conversation starter. It's something you can have in common, and it's something you can talk about as they grow older, and it teaches some very valuable lessons. So please, take your kids out, get them in the garden, make sure it's fun for them when they're younger, and show them the value of good hard work. All right, so thanks once again for stopping by. Like, subscribe, and let me know what you think, and grow something with your kids.